Right, we're now going to look at Venn diagrams, which is a new topic in the WJC GCSE, and depending on how difficult they want to make it, it could be foundation, intermediate or higher tier. So let's see how these look. Okay, given the following information, complete the Venn diagram shown below. So E is the symbol for all the information, the universal set. So inside this square will have to appear all the digits, all the numbers between 1 and 12. A is the set of factors of 24 that are contained in that list. So if we just work out what that means. So factors of 24 are numbers that divide into 24 exactly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 and 12 are all factors of 24. B is the set of multiples of 3, so it's the numbers that are in the 3 times table. 3, 6, 9, 12. And C is the set of common factors of 30 and 70. So we got to list what the factors are of both of those and see what's common. So 30, 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10. 4 doesn't go into 30, 5 does 6 times, and then if we went to 6 we just reverse that list. So those are the common factors of 30, and then for 70 we'd have 1 and 70, 2 and 35, 3 doesn't go into it, 4 doesn't go into it, 5 goes into 70 14 times, 6 doesn't, 7 goes into it 10 times, and once we go beyond that we'd end up crossing over again. So those are the common factors of both. So the common factors, 1 are in both, 2 are in both, 5 are in both, and 10 are in both. So C is 1, 2, 5 and 10. Okay, so we're now going to transfer that information onto our Venn diagram. And the best way of doing this is to, in order to make sure that you get everything on, is to go back to the original list and go from there. So 1 is in 2 groups, it's in A and C. So there's group A, there's group C, the overlap of A and C are in there, so 1 will appear in there. Put a little dot above it, I know I've dealt with it. 2 also appear in A and C. 3 appear in A and B, so that's this overlap. 4 is in A only, so it's not in an overlap. 5 is in C only. 6 is in A and B. 7 isn't in any of those lists, so it's outside the circle but inside the rectangle. 8 is in A only. 9 is in B only. 10 is in C only. 11 isn't in the lists, and 12 is in A and B. So 4, 8, 3, 6, 12, 1, 2, 9, 5, 10, 7, 11. So the mark scheme for that is 4 for all right, 3 for 9, 10, 11, right? 2 for 6, 7, 8, right? And 1 for 3, 4 or 5, right? So maximum of 4, obviously a minimum of 0. Question 2. Here we go again. Place the whole numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the correct positions. So they're defining odd numbers, multiples of 5, factors of 24. So let's just list those first of all. So odd 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Multiples of 5, 5 and 10. Factors of 24, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. Right, 1. 1 is odd and a factor of 24. 2 is just a factor of 24. 3 is odd and a factor of 24. 4 is just a factor of 24. 5 is just a multiple of 5. 6 is just a factor of 24. 7 is just odd. 8 is just a factor of 24. 9 is just odd. And 10 is just a multiple of 5. So let's just check with the mark scheme how that one works. I got one wrong. 5 is odd and a multiple of 5, so that one should have been there. So 7, 9, 5, 10, 1, 3, 2, 4, 6, 8. So the way that that one is marked is 3 for all correct, 2 for 8 or 9, 1 for 5, 6 or 7. A whole number is selected at random from the set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Probability that the number selected is odd. So the number of odd numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out of the total number of numbers, which is 10. An odd number that is a factor of 24. Well, all the factors of 24 are in that circle, but the overlap with odd are those 2. So that would be 2 out of 10. Not a multiple of 5 and not a factor of 24. So if it's not a multiple of 5 and it's not a factor of 24, it isn't those 2 and it isn't all of those, so it's just those 2. So that's also 2 out of 10. And there is 1 mark for each of those. Okay, again, pattern developing here. You can see that these are pretty much linking factors and multiples and primes and so on. So here we're dealing with the numbers 22 to 30. A is the multiples of 2, so that's going to be 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Multiples of 4, 24 and 28, and multiples of 5, 25 and 30. So 22 is only in set A. 23 isn't in any of those lists, so it goes outside. 24 is in A and B. 25 is in C. 26 is in A only. 27 doesn't appear. 28 A and B. 29 doesn't appear, and 30 A and C. So let's find the mark scheme for that one. So 22, 26, 24, 28, 30, 25, 23, 27, 29. 3 marks for all of them. 2 for 7 or 8. 1 for 5 or 6. Now we go on with this question. Part B. Which of the following Venn diagrams could also be used to represent the sets A, B and C? Must give a reason for your choice. So Venn diagram 1 is saying that everything that's in everything that's in A is also in B, and everything that's A and B is also in C. Well, that's certainly not the case, because C's only got the 2 things, so it's not that one. If we come to the second one, this is saying that B, everything in B, is also in A. And if you look here, that's the case. The 2 values of set B, 24 and 28, are also contained in A. And it's also saying that there's no intersection between B and C, which is true, but there is an intersection between A and C, which is true. So it could be that one. Let's just check the third. The third again is saying that A and B all are contained in C, and we know that's not true. So it's diagram 2, because the members of B are all contained in group A. Are all in set A. There is no intersection between sets B and C, but there is between A and C. So B are all contained in A. There's no overlap between B and C, but there is between A and C. A whole number is selected at random from the universal set, which we're working with. Find the probability that the number selected is a multiple of 2, but not a multiple of 4. So multiple of 2 is A, but not a multiple of 4, which is B. So it's not those 2, it's that one, that one, and that one. So it's 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not a multiple of 5 would be 7 out of 9, because there are 2 multiples of 5. A multiple of 5 and a multiple of 2 would be 30, which is 1 out of 9. So the way this is marked is you would have 1 mark for correctly picking up Venn diagram 2 and explaining why, and 1 mark for each of those. Okay, so with all those previous questions, you were given a Venn diagram and you just had to populate it. With the next two questions, you have got a bit more work to do in order to complete the Venn diagram. So we have a survey about cereals. A survey about the cereals that people bought was conducted in a local supermarket on a Saturday afternoon. 95 people bought Brekkie Bix, 100 bought Crispy Flakes, and 59 bought Pop Chocks. Of these, 50 bought Brekkie Bix and Crispies, and so on and so on and so on. Everyone surveyed bought at least one of these cereals. How many people took part in this survey? So we're going to draw ourselves our Venn diagram. There are three different cereals, so we're going to have three overlapping circles. One for Brekkie Bix, which we'll call B. One for Crispy Flakes, which we'll call C. And one for Pop Chocks, which we'll call P. And before we start to populate it, the main place to start is, do we have anyone in that central overlap? Did anybody buy all three? And if you go through, you will see that 5 people bought Brekkie, Crispy and Pop. And you'll see why that's important in a moment. We know that 50 people bought B and C. So this is B, this is C. B and C is that complete overlap there. So that if that's got to come to 50, that means that 45 bought B and C but not the Pop Chocks, because those 5 people bought B and C but also something else. So we've done that one. 37 bought B and P. So here's B and P. So that whole thing is 37, which means that must be 32. 25 C and P. So that's 25, which means that's 20. And we've already dealt with that. So once we've got all the intersections filled, we can then use this set of information to work out who bought B only. So 95 bought Brekkie Bix, 45 bought B and C, 5 bought all 3, 32 B and P, which means there were 13 people that bought Brekkie Bix only. So 95 brought Brekkie Bix. That whole circle adds up to 95. Dealt with. 100 people brought Crispy Flakes. Of those 100, there were 45, 5 and 20 that we already know about, leaving 30 that bought Crispy Flakes only. And then finally, for the Pop Chocks, we've got 59 less 32 less 5 less 20, so only 2 bought Pop Chocks only. Right, so if you want to know how many took part in the survey, we just need to add up all of those numbers. So working along the top row, 13 plus 45 plus 30 plus 32 plus 5 plus 20 plus 2, 147. Now, how is that marked? Okay, so it's marked, if you've drawn the 3 circles with a 5 in the centre, you got your first mark. You get 1 mark for the 45, 1 mark for the 32, 1 mark for the 20, one mark for any 2 of the remaining 3, and 1 mark for the 147. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, giving you the total of 6. So, final question, similar as the previous one. During a primary school activity day, children could take part in any of 3 different activities. 80 played football, 95 rounders, 30 danced. 40 played football and rounders, 12 rounders and danced, 20 football and danced, and there's the key that unlocks it, 3 taking part in all 3 activities. So let's get our interlinking circles, football, rounders, dance, 3 in the middle. So if 40 played football and rounders, that's going to come to 40, so that needs to be 37. 12 rounders and danced, that's going to come to 12, that means that's 9. 20 football and danced, that's going to come to 20, that's 17. Then, if we know 80 played football, that whole football circle has got to add up to 80. That means 23 only played football. 95 played rounders, so that whole rounder circle has to add up to 95. That means that is 46. And danced, 30. The whole circle has to add up to 30. Take off what we already know. 1 child only danced. 23:17. Okay, so to work out then how many children took part altogether, we need to add up those. So 23, 37, 46, 17, 3, 9, 1, 136 children. 6 marks. 1 mark for the 3 circles with the interlinking and 3 in the right place. 1 for the 37. 1 for the 9. 1 for the 17. 1 for 2 out of the remaining 3, the 23, 46 and 1, and 1 for the total 136. So that is Venn diagram questions.